Hello everyone. Welcome to the webinar on cost reduction strategies via Toyota Production System. Today's session is single minute exchange of dies, a tool for inventory control and efficiency improvement. We will start in another 5 minutes. We regret for the inconvenience caused. Um, Sorry for the delay in time. Um, we are going to start now. So the topic is single minute exchange of dies, a tool for inventory control and efficiency improvement. Mr. Vikas Bajaj is the speaker for the day. So Mr. Vikas, we can start. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I got a message that my voice is not clear, so I am starting it again. Good morning, all. Welcome to this third series of TPS webinar series. Today, we will be learning as to how this SMED can be an effective tool for inventory control and efficiency improvement. Before this webinar, we had conducted two more webinars. One was on TPS awareness, and second was success and visual management tools. So this third webinar is of the series TPS, which will be helping you out to be more effective, more robust in terms of efficiency. And this SMED tool we can use to control our inventory also. But before we start, I would like to have a few discussions with you. One is that I would like that this session should be more interactive as far as possible. So whenever you have any doubt or any question, request you to just pass on the question to me so that I can clear the doubts there and there itself only. Secondly, before we go to our main topic, I would like you to be familiar with some basic terminologies which will be helping us to be getting more uh, related and more helpful in understanding the topics. So starting with the first question is whether inventory is an asset or plague. So when we say asset means it is good for us, plague means it is disturbing for us. So the answer may be almost every imperfection or problem creates a need for inventory. So inventory is just an effect as well as reflection of overall manufacturing effectiveness. So when we say we have more inventory, that means our manufacturing effectiveness is somewhat diligent and we need to focus on our effectiveness or efficiency, because we normally see inventory is a means to hide our problems or imperfections. So moving forward, inventory is probably one of the two biggest assets of your company balance sheet. It is an important determinant of ROI, but carrying stock is expensive, usually 20 to 40% of the average value per year. You must be feeling the pinch of carrying inventory right now when your cash flow is disturbed due to the unforeseen circumstances due to the lockdown. And this inventory which you are carrying is now a burden on us with respect to our 30-40% of our average, you can say, business cost is now stuck up due to this inventory. It is easy to turn cash into inventory. The challenge is to turn inventory back into the cash. That means inventory turnover ratio is an index of business performance. It also reflects management effectiveness. This all I'm trying to tell you is because when we will talk about SMED, this inventory, whether it's a boon or asset or plague, that will be in your mind, back of your mind. So that we can relate our SMED topic to this inventory. When we say inventory versus productivity relationship, it is always seen that as our inventory goes down or our inventory WIP terms increase, our productivity per employee also goes on increasing. So this will be shown live when our one of the guests will be presenting you a case study, that as their change over time, their inventory went down, their productivity of per employee also went up in the same pattern. Managing the inventory effectively is much akin to managing the cash directly. So inventory can severely damage the cash flow of the company, which I was telling you earlier also. Many of the companies currently are facing the cash flow crunch, and this inventory, if had been down or at a lower side, then their cash flow would have been better, and they would have been in a better position to offset the lockdown crisis. This is an exact good example as to how inventory is a prime waste. On the left, you can see if you are having a high inventory and you are doing manufacturing, then your problems will not be able to, you will not be able to see your problems. Okay, this ship we are trying to show is a manufacturing ship. The problems is shown in the blue. So when your inventory is high, your manufacturing ship or your manufacturing processes, manufacturing activity goes on smoothly. But as you go on reducing the inventory, then this manufacturing activity starts bumping up or it gets stuck into problems. For example, if you have a problem with the skill set of your maintenance team and they are not able to rectify the problems on a faster pace, then if you are keeping inventory and if some machine goes down, then your production activity goes on smoothly, irrespective of whether your team is capable or skill level is up or not. But as soon as you go for a single minute exchange of die or you go for a line balancing or a one piece flow, then if a machine goes down, as your skill of your employees who are into this maintenance activity is not upgraded, then your manufacturing ship or your activity will be stuck up in the problems. So reduction of inventory also exposes efficiencies, and this will eventually help us in getting to know where we stand and what we need to improve. When we say inventory, and we will be able to correlate as to how SMED is helping us in reducing inventory, one of the factors we need to consider is ITR. ITR stands for inventory turnover ratio. The formula is given to you. It's material cost of sales on the top side, that is numerator. On the denominator is inventory at the end of the day, end of the month, that is FG plus WIP plus RM. The more the ITR, the better it is for you. So we need to focus on inventory. Now, the second concept before we move forward is identification of product families. So what we need to do is understand the customer demand and carry out a PQ analysis of your business. That is, build up product quantity analysis. I hope most of you must be understanding what is PQ analysis. P stands for product, Q stands for quantity. We need to draw a Pareto chart of P and Q to understand. This I am trying to show in this example. For example, this is an example of a production of any company. What we need to do is we have to put up the maximum sale or maximum volume amount quantity of the product at the top. That is P1 is 2180, and keep on writing the product name in the descending order. So when we draw a PQ analysis chart or a Pareto chart for product and quantity, we come across to such type of charts. So you can see till 60% of the sale, the items which are giving to us, they are termed as runner or group A items. These items are to be considered when we are going in for layout change or some other activity with respect to the plant. On the extreme right, from 90 to 100% by volume, which items are contributing are termed as strangers. Strangers means group C items which are contributing only 5 to 10% of the sale of the company total sale in a month. Now, when we talk about SMED, we need to focus on these group C or stranger items only, because when we have these kind of items in our portfolio or in our product range, and our customers are demanding that we need every product on us as per our demand, Then when we produce these defects, or sorry, in these components, we go in for a larger lot, irrespective of what customer is demanding, and then these items are only creating inventory for us, which in later stages get difficult to get rid of, because sometimes it happens that the customer is not willing to take these items, or these items are of nature which are required in very few quantity. So when we talk about SMED, our main focus should be on strangers or group C items, which are very less in demand, or contribute only 5 to 10% of the total share of the company. Now the concept of changeover. Now we come to that topic, our main topic, that is SMED. Now what is changeover? When we say changeover, it suggests when we stop producing part X and make and inspect part V, a time lapse between the two is called a changeover. Or we can say in simple terms is, from one OK product to next OK product, whatever the time lapse was in between, it is termed as changeover time. You can see in the blue, the time production stops on part X is given, and when production starts for part V and inspection is OK, whatever time is shown in between is a changeover time. Now there are 4 components of a changeover. One is preparation. Preparation suggests, second is change, then is adjustment, and the fourth is inspection. So when we say preparation, it's just anything spent on a part, machine, fixture to prepare it for production. So when we go for a changeover, what we do is first we start preparing for a changeover, maybe it on a machine, on a fixture. So step 1 is preparation. Then next is actual time spent inside the machine to make the tooling fixture change while the machine is stopped, is just change time. Thirdly, adjustment, time taken to adjust the machine or fixture to meet the customer requirement for the part to be made, because sometimes we see we have to go for small or minor adjustment. For example, in our press, we go for adjustment to make it stroke length, stroke height, that is adjustment. And the fourth component is inspection, time taken to measure and inspect of part running. We include inspection in our changeover time, because when we say changeover, we say from one OK piece to second new component of an OK piece. That means OK to OK is changeover time. So inspection time will be always considered part of our changeover. When we see in many of the companies, we see that inspection is taking actually 30 to 40% of the time during our changeover. And people normally consider that changeover is complete whenever the tool is loaded on the machine. No. Changeover is complete when you have inspected the first part of the new die or a component and given a go ahead that yes, this is okay for production now. Now, why do we need quick changeover? As I told you earlier also, and it's a part of our topic also, that quick changeover is to make ourself lean. Lean means our manufacturing activity is removed of all kinds of waste. That is our first activity. And since inventory is also a waste, the topic is to achieve lean manufacturing goal, to achieve TPM goal, or what else? So we will discuss about it now. With the change in marketing scenario, customer expects more frequent deliveries in small batches. For example, when one of the biggest automobile companies, Hero, started producing bikes, there are only 2 to 3 models, and those models continued for around 8 to 10 years, and the same models were delivered to the customer also without any major change in the profile or shape or size or appearance. But as soon as the other competitors starting to step in, they had to diversify. Diversify means they have to bring in more models, more varieties, more types of variants into those running models. So what was the scenario? The customer expectation was that we need more frequent deliveries, and that in small batches, and those batches may be in terms of 100 to 150. So whatever the customer is asking, we have to give. And if we cannot give, then the customer is having a choice to shift to another supplier who is willing to do to the same, but we are not willing to do. Second is manufacturing strategy is to meet the unsteady market at the lowest cost. When we say a cost, inventory carrying is also a cost. Giving in most number of waste is also a cost. So cost is also one of the factors that we need quick changeover. And setup time is limiting factor in reducing the batch size. Means batch size is now not in our hand. There is maybe a time that the customer may ask for only one part. That is, our batch size may be 1. So we need to get prepared that whatever customer is asking in the form of one time in full, that is OTIF, we normally say now. So changeover is a requirement of the day. Earlier it was an option, but now quick changeover is a requirement, and we need to be getting prepared for the same. So if we need to prepare or increase the frequency of delivery without compromising the inventory, quick changeover is the answer available with us, and we need to be fully acceptable to it. Now, how changeover contributes in Muda generation? Because when we talk about efficiency, Muda is one of the factors. So we'll discuss how changeover is contributing in this Muda generation. The first Muda we can talk about is overproduction. Overproduction is making earlier more and fast than requirement. Whatever is required by the customer, we are making more than that. So when I was talking about the stranger items to you, this overproduction is one of the Muda we see. For example, if a customer is asking 50 pieces of any component and we foresee a demand that every month he asks for 50 pieces, what we do is we produce 500 pieces. So that every when we ask for 50 pieces, we can keep on making 50 as per his requirement. But eventually what we have done is we have produced 500 against 50. And we only because we don't want to change every month. The changeover goal for the 700%. And this eventually is making our space and now how changeover impacts of faster changeover we are taking longer. So changeover creates waste of production. Also, you must have also seen in your plant whenever you go for a tech or one activity or one activity many of the components are find lying in the store area
Mr. Vikas, hello. Yeah, Mr. Vikas.
and we are not able to reduce it further, or we will not be able to reduce it further. So that was our traditional thinking.
Mr. Vikas, hello.
For example,
Vicaso, hello.
if changeover time is 60 minutes
Vicaso,
and we are taking
hello.
1 minute to produce a part, then time per part will be 60 plus 1 into 1 upon 1, that is 61 minutes. Okay. And if we are producing 100 pieces, then our time per part is 1.6 minutes. So if we compare both these equations, we will always go for the second equation because we produce more parts, so our time per part goes on increasing, and we assume that even if the changeover time is 60 minutes, we should produce more parts even if required is less, so that our time per part is less, and this leads to additional inventory and loss of efficiency in the long term basis. But if we work on our strategy of reducing the setup time, or we work on reducing SMED, then okay.
Yeah, we are going to like play the slides again because voice was lost in between.
Sorry, I could have got a message through stats also that some of the slides got missing. So what I will do is I will revert back to few of the slides. Okay.
Before this,
So what I was talking about is how changeover times contribute in Muda generation. I hope from this here we can start. So O production is making earlier more and faster than the requirements. Okay. So O production is making earlier more and faster than the requirements. So when we say we produce more, for example, what I was talking about you is that when we have to consider SMED, we must focus on stranger items. Stranger items are those which contribute very less in our sales, but are in demand by the customer based on his requirements. So when the customer asks for those types of products, which are very few in volume or demand, we tend to make more than the customer demand, keeping in mind or keeping in that view that these may be asked on regular basis by the customer. So we should go in for more production of those parts, and whenever the customer is asking, we should be able to deliver as and when required. So we normally go for overproduction in that cases, and that these overproductions normally create a waste of overproduction. Okay, someone is asking what is muda. When we say muda, there are 7 types of waste: TIMWOOD, which I will be explaining in these remaining parts. So you may continue with that only. Now, why batch production is considered bad? When we say batch production, that means we are not producing single piece following the single piece flow, or we are taking production in a batch of 100, 50, 200, whatever the case may be. So when we go for batch production, the first casualty is our increased inventory. So I was talking about the case of companies which are situated in the highly densely populated areas or where the cost of land is too high. For example, in the case of Delhi NCR area, the cost of land is too high. And when we go for increased inventory, our most of the space is being occupied by inventory. And this makes our daily maintenance of our plant with respect to organizations IOS a great difficulty. Increase inventory also increase WIP always. Then it's high process problems. So when we go in for a bad production problem or we have increased WIP, we may have a problem that one of the pieces, one of the lot get rejected because we have WIP and this in whatever is in between the two stations rejected. Personal piece of possibility that only 5 is got rejected between the two stations. Whatever increase WIP, when we have high, as I was telling you, our hello. Waste. Yes. I hope now it will be resolved. Try to get in some other network. So I will once again repeat why price production is considered bad, because it increases inventory. Are you able to hear me, please? Can you confirm? Can anyone confirm that you are able to hear? Himanshu, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now it's audible.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Vikas, we can start now.
So when we talk about traditional thinking, when we say we are producing, finish producing the part X.
हाँ, ये अब मतलब कि नॉर्मली एक बार फोन को ना व्हाट्सएप उस पे कॉल पे डाल दो ताकि मैं आपको इन्फॉर्म करता रहूँ क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं।
मुझे व्हाट्सएप मैसेज किया करना। So when we stop producing finished part X as per our traditional thinking, and we have a certain setup time, and after that setup is over, we start producing part Y. Then if S is the setup time, A is the time to produce one part, and N is the number of pieces, then time taken per part would be S plus N into A upon N, where S is considered to be a constant. So going by the same equation, we will take two cases. Now if S yani S is change over time of 60 minutes, A is time taken to produce 1 minute, and N is the number of pieces, then time taken part, if we produce one piece is 60 plus 1 into 1 by 1, that is 61 minutes. So time taken to produce one part would be 61 minutes. Going by the second example, if the same changeover time is there, okay, and A is equal to 1 minute and number of pieces is 100, then time taken per part would be 1.6 minutes, because 60 plus 100 into 1 by 100 is 1.6 minutes. So our traditional thinking says that if we produce one part as per our customer requirement, then we will be wasting, or we will be utilizing 61 minutes. And if we produce 100 part against one, so we will be having a time per part will be 1.6 minutes. So this is beneficial for us. So we always go for more number of pieces production to offset the changeover time which we lost during our changeover. So if we increase it, time per part also reduces. But nowadays the story is different. When we say our part X is finished and we want to make a part Y and inspect it, we can go for a smaller setup change, or we can reduce the setup change time so that our time per part is lesser. So going by the same example, if S is the setup time, A is time to produce one part, and N is equal to number of pieces, and S is not considered, which was constant, which was considered earlier. Then when S eliminates, then time taken part will be equal to the time to produce one part. So we will be always focusing on reduction of changeover time, and time taken will be to produce one part will be same as n number of parts. This is good. So it allows one piece flow also. So ideally, the changeover time should be equal to one tag time of the product. So if our tag time is 2 minutes, then our changeover time should also be 2 minutes for that line. So we need to focus on reducing the setup time rather than focusing on producing more number of parts, which will be later not supporting us to go for lean inventory. Now the second waste which we see if we go for a longer changeover time is waiting. Waiting is a time spent waiting for sources. How changeover time can cause waiting, I would like to explain. Searching time for improper location of tools and parts. Dedicating changeover teams are not available. Lack of changeover procedures are not available will all lead to waiting. For example, if we don't have exact location, a proper location of tools and parts, and our team is searching for those parts during the time of changeover, then it's always possible that machine is waiting, tool is waiting, and manpower is waiting for the tools to be brought to the machine and changeover starts. Secondly, if we don't have dedicated changeover teams, then waiting will be there so that actual changeover starts when those teams arrive to the location where changeover is required. And thirdly is lack of changeover procedures. That is, wait until someone determines what to do. So these all factors are linked to changeover, and this changeover will finally or eventually lead to a mudda of waiting. And waiting is always considered a waste because whatever time has been lost will not be coming back to your company again. So changeover creates a waiting waste eventually. The next waste is transportation. Waste occurs when parts and materials are moved around the plant. Now the question arises, how transportation waste occurs in changeover. Poor layout or parts, tool, materials stored too far from point of use. So in our classical changeover, we suggest that our tools parts should be near to the machine. So if we don't have a proper layout, then there is a possibility that the team is wasting more of a valuable time in bringing parts, tools, material from far off places, and it will be more of a transportation, and transportation is a mudda wherein NV activity is increasing with more transportation happening. Also, going to centralized storage points to retrieve changeover parts, tool, and materials. Sometimes it happens that the team who is working on changeover doesn't possess the required tools. So what they do is they go to the places where the tools are kept at confined locations, centralized locations, and bring those tools to the machine where changeover is taking place. So all this transportation from actual machine to that place is a waste which is happening with our prior knowledge, and that may sometimes appear to be common to our company. So changeover creates transportation waste also. Then is excess motion. The next waste which we normally considered in mudda is motion. Any movement that adds no value to the product, or whenever is our person is moving from his workplace is an excess motion. How does excess motion happen during changeover? We would like to discuss lack of labor saving tools and methods. That is, changeover cards and fixed off part positioning. There are no tools available for changeover. Lack of visual control we are not having any mark settings where to keep the okay material, where will material the move, where the material will be coming. No shadow boards for tools, so that whatever is required is made available to them. That is also one of the waste we see when we go for a videography or a analysis of our changeover. We find 10 to 15% of the time is lost searching for tools, material, or some supportive equipments required for the changeover. And the third one case is poor workplace organization. That means the person who is working on the machine, he is not skilled enough to support in changeover. That may also cause a waste when he is standing, and a special purpose person that we normally say is uh, loader is not available. The next waste that we see in during changeover is underutilized manpower. So poorly designed changeover process that do not use all the skilled available, lack of training and procedure, and independent changeover. That means no one is observing, learning from the changeover experts, is also one of the waste which we can see or observe during changeover. The biggest example is we have able to see, or you must have also seen in your company, that whenever a changeover is starting, then the person who is actually working on the machine, he moves away from the machine and goes for some personal work, and the specialized person is actually working on the machine. Had it been both the person working on the same machine during changeover, the time would have been less, but this doesn't happen in most of the cases. So we need to also ensure that whatever manpower is available during the changeover, that is fully utilized and trained, and specific procedures are made available to them so that they can work on this changeover time reduction. Now, traditional changeover, what we normally see is before SMAD improvements start in the company, basic setup time during breakdown is preparation, after process improvement, checking, storing, material movement, parts and tools. It takes away almost 30% of the time during a changeover. Removing and mounting parts is taking only actually 5% of the total time. Machine measurement, setting and calibration is taking 15 minutes, 15%. Trial run and adjustment is taking 50%. So we need to focus on all these four. Firstly, preparation, storing, material movement, parts and tool. These all needs to be brought to a minimum level so that whatever is required should be available at the place where changeover is taking place. And also trial runs and adjustment should be brought to a basic minimum level, which I will be discussing and showing you in the subsequent slides also. So what we understand is why changeover time should be reduced, or why quick changeover should be there. That is reduce changeover time, increase productivity, better working conditions for operators, reduce WIP, less space requirement, production leveling, improved equipment effectiveness, and higher flexibility. So all these factors are finally making our company more efficient. So when we say our topic is relevant or not, that's yes, this changeover time will eventually support us in bringing down the inventory level and increasing our efficiency in this COVID times, wherein efficiency is the key to bring back or to jump back to the normal working conditions, because whatever is time is being lost, we have to make up by increasing our efficiency, and we cannot go in for more aggressive production because of certain social distancing norms. Now, when we say quick changeover, how quick? When we say changeover should be SMAD format, that means it should be less than 10 minutes. So SMAD is an acronym that stands for single minute exchange of die. is it should be less than 10 minutes. But many of you must be having a doubt as to how can this can happen, wherein we can go for a changeover in less than 10 minutes. So I am here today to give you some examples, also to show you some case studies also as to how we can bring our changeover time less than 10 minutes in our subsequent slides. When we say changeover, the classical changeover suggests finishing of actual batch, dismounting of tools, then changing of tools, adjustment wherein machine is stopped, trials, quality inspection, and process new batch. So wherever, whatever product you are making, the changeover is always in this same format only, wherein last batch is finished and a new batch production after quality inspection starts. So whatever the time or whatever the steps we are shown over here on screen, this is normally the classic changeover we follow. Now, there are two examples being shown over here. We have a setup time shown in red or orange, wherein first product A is being manufactured, then there is a changeover time, then product B is being manufactured or produced, then there is a changeover. But after this changeover, time is brought to within 10 minutes or it has been reduced. So the setup time is reduced by considerably 1/3 of time. So there are two options available with us, whether we go for this option or we go for this option. That is, the first option is go for larger lots. So whatever time we have saved during the changeover, that should be used in increasing the lot size. And the second option is we go in for more number of changeovers. So ideally it should be that we should be going in for more number of changeovers rather than going in for larger lots, because larger lots defeat our purpose of having lower inventory and going in for small lot sizes. Now there are two kinds of changeover operations which we normally see in our factories. First is internal setup. It can be performed only when the machine is stopped, and the second one is external setup that can be done while the machine is running. So we need to remember these two terms for our all subsequent slides. What is internal means it can be performed only when the machine is stopped. External means it can be done while the machine is working. So examples is external means preparation of dies, fixtures, movement of die from store to the machine or from machine to the storage can be done without machine stopping. So this is an example of external setup task. Internal setup task means removing the old die, putting up the new die on the machine, adjustment of location, height, pressure, etc., test run. These all activities cannot be performed until unless the machine is brought to a standstill. So these are all examples of our internal setup task. I will wait for your questions after the two slides because we have short of time. So I will be just going ahead and we can stop for questions also. Now there are 7 rules for improving changeover. The rule 1 states changeover begins and ends with 5S. As I was studying earlier also, that many of the waste due to changeover are because we don't have a good 5S in place in our organization. So assuming all of you are aware with 5S, the 5 steps of 5S says discard if in doubt, that is 1S, indicate put up signs showing exactly where a particular thing belongs, that is 2S, using color codes for orderliness so that we are able to identify and locate the dies or tools required for changeover within a span of 30 seconds, which is considered a good time for identification. Then eliminate tools for orderliness and develop special tools to improve efficiency. So these 5 steps of rule number 1 should be first defined and put up in place in the organization to start working on our improvement in changeover time. So when we say changeover, that means everything starts with 5S. Second rule says change internal changeover to external changeover. That is, analyze current changeover operations and ask why again and again if an internal operation can be changed to an external one. When we say we are changing from internal to external, that means we are reducing the time when the machine is actually stopped for changeover. So whatever activities we can do before the changeover activity starts or after the changeover is happening completed, those activities should be externalized so that our machine stoppage time is reduced. Whenever we say we have to reduce the stoppage time or changeover time, the most critical machines which are available in the company, which are in less quantity or have constraint with respect to productivity, these should be taken on the first priority level. But that doesn't mean we don't want to go in for other machines. We have to go in for other machines also, but priority should be on those machines which are bottleneck machines or are critical to your daily working conditions. The rule 3 states bolts are our enemies. Take the boltless approach. That is, consider substitutes like knock-in fasteners with levers on top, because bolt takes more time to open and remove and then retighten. So if we go for boltless approach, whatever time in seconds we can save, that will be deducted from the changeover time itself. Next is use fewer bolts. If we have to use a bolt also, then also we should go in for number of bolts should be reduced so that our assembly disassembly time is brought down. And thirdly is make bolts shorter. Shorter means the last turn of the bolt is actually used for fastening. So if we have a longer bolt available with us and we are going for turns and turns and turns to screw, then that is a waste. So we need to go in for a calibrated approach, go in for a system wherein we can say that our bolt size should be how much. So we should have a systematic scientific study as to how much size of the bolt should be used during the changeover so that our number of turns are less, our bolt sizes is less. Also we have a lesser number of bolts, and if possible we can go in for boltless approach also. Rule 4 said if you have to use your fans, make sure your feet stay put. That means wherever possible, don't move. Tools, our requirements with respect to changeover should be made available to us within that near to that machine itself only, so that our hands are at work but our feet are there itself only, and we don't have to move from that place to bring in tools there. So specialize means keep all tools within arm reach during the changeover operation, keep all switches closed at one hand, and establish parallel operations. When we say parallel operation, that means we need to put in more number of persons onto the job of changeover if we consider that our machine is critical and we need to bring in this changeover time below 10 minutes. Normally also our operator and another person is put up to this task to go for changeover, but when we normally see, we see that our operator is not contributing during this changeover. So we need to make sure that our OPS and standard procedures are put in such a place wherein parallel operations are utilized and both the persons are given tasks according to our requirement. Rule 5 says don't rely on special fine-tuning skills, or other words, abolish fine-tuning. That means there is a notion normally that fine-tuning is required, and that's why this activity of changeover is considered to be a skilled job. Skilled job means only few persons in our organization can actually do a changeover, because they are the only experts available in the plant who can do this fine-tuning. So this, if fine-tuning is abolished, then this activity will be a non-skilled job and it can be done by many of the people in the plant, and that will also support our activity of that we will be not having any mudda of waiting, because all persons have the capacity or skill to do that activity. For this, what we need to do is standardize the work and make it simple. You must have seen the earlier TV sets available in our homes or radio sets. They used to have a fine tuning button over there. So we are used to have to rotate that switch to put up the stations we required. But now we have options of putting up whatever channel we required at a single button. So that fine tuning activity has been completely abolished, and so is the case we have to do in our changeover also. Standards are standard, they are not flexible. So that means for every changeover we need to define certain standards, because if we are doing adjustment with respect to position, height every time a changeover is taking place, that means we are not having any standards, or we are not having any fixed location defined. And then again, it's the job of the skilled person or die setter, whatever you the name may be person given to you in your company. He is the only person who can do this position adjustment or height adjustment. And if standards are available and this has been done, then that is acquired job. Rule 7 states standardize all options. Don't spend money on it. And if you have any idea, immediate action rather than waiting for appropriate time things to happen. Hello. आ गया. The rule 7 states, don't spend money on improvements. Use your common sense to solve problems and make improvements right away. That means we don't have to wait for a proper time or appropriate time to make improvements. Whatever improvements ideas you have, just make sure that you have doing it right away and don't wait for other options. Are you hearing me now? Can you hear me now? Hello? So whatever I have taught you till now, do you have any queries? Sorry for the issue with that internet today. If you have any query, we can till now whatever you've listened or seen, we can have a 5 minutes break over here so that we can carry back whatever we have left behind and move further. So I will be able to resolve your queries. So if you have any question with respect to whatever has been shared till now, you may please ask. We will have a 5 minutes pause over here so that whatever has been lost can be recovered. So if you have any query, any questions, please you may proceed. Anyone has any query, any question with respect to? We will take a decision with respect to this sharing of this presentation. But before that, if you have any query, whatever has been taught now, you may just please ask. Does anyone has any query? Mr. Vinayak has asked a question: why changeover is addressed only to category C? Look, when we have a larger lot to take, for example, in case of runner items and stranger items, repeated items, then if we are having a 30 minutes changeover and we are taking a lot of around 10,000, 5,000 pieces of product, then what we do is we don't consider per item changeover time to a big amount. The problem arises when only we need to make 20 items, 30 items, or those items which we are having in very small volumes. So first focus or better correlation with respect to SMED is with those items which we call as strangers, because when customer asks those items in a once or twice a month and you don't want to go for a changeover, what we do normally is we produce those items in bulk or in large quantity at one go itself only, and those items are those actual items which are kept in stores or in location in form of inventory. It's not that we are not focusing on A and B, but our concern with respect to changeover is only with those items which are requiring small quantity. So that's why I was suggesting that stranger items should be considered in first instance for this changeover. Then we can focus on B and A items also. Shall I proceed further, or someone else has any query? Okay. Now, when we say we have to go for a good or reduction in changeover, how to start? There are 4 basic steps of SMED. SMED basically consists of 4 basic steps that we'll discuss one by one. Starting with, form a natural work team. The most important step is to form a team. Just like we have a team during a changeover in our car racing events, they should be in planning, purpose, and execution, and they should be having a fair idea as to what the task has to perform. But before we start, we need to have a certain information we need to have with us. That is current changeover, average number of changeover, batch quantity, how much batch size is decided, time taken to complete the batch, cycle time, WIP levels, and what are the bottleneck machine. So certain basic information with respect to changeover we must be having with us to start the activity of changeover time reduction. I may be asking you a few questions also with respect to this. So what when we say now changeover time reduction activity we need to do on a plant. Many times we have found out because we work in many other organizations, we आगे दोबारा. Look, when we say we are need to go for a changeover reduction activity, many times we see that the people who are comparing in the organization are not actually recording data of changeover as actual basis on actual basis. What they do is we put up in the evening or in our report that changeover time is taking 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 45 minutes, or 15 minutes. That is our minimum time taken for changeover is 15, and the next one is in multiple of 15, that is 15, 30, 45, and that is 60. So we have to make sure that whatever whatever time we are recording in terms of changeover, it should be accurate. So that is the first most criteria when we want to go for a changeover time reduction. So what I was talking about in step 1 was form a natural work team wherein the people from different departments are put up in a form of a team. One may be from production, one may be from tool room, then there may be setters, operators, maintenance team, all need to form a team to work on this project of SMED. And once this team is formed, we need to have a basic information about the changeover of that product, at how much changeover we are taking in a month, how much is the batch quantity currently, how the batch size is decided, who is deciding how much to make, what is the time taken to make that batch, then is cycle time for each component, WIP levels. So these all information need to be collected once we start the SMED activity. The next step is select the machine and fixed date for studying the setup chain. So we need to go in for identifying of that machine from where we want to start this SMED project, and also they can decide on the date also as to which date we will be doing this activity. Then we need to communicate to all team members, introduce a team, and map the entire process in detail. That is the best way of reducing or starting a project of changeover is to go videography of that changeover. When we say videography, videography means from last OK product till the time the next OK product is being produced from that machine, everything needs to be videographed. Also, we need to make sure that we need to make sure that if there are two persons are involved in that activity, then the videography should be made for both the persons rather than only one. For example, if there are two persons involved in a changeover activity, then we must be having two videography done for both the persons. This is essential for starting the project of SMBD or changeover time reduction. Now, this is an example of a sample format for collecting data. You can see that in this you are able to see the activities being performed by a person, starting with last product completed to the last activity, that is activity number 28, that is produce. So the first activity is X product is completing, and the 28th activity is Y product is being produced. So you can see the activities done by the person is allotted down on this sheet. Then we have a start time which says HMS. HMS means hour, minute, second. Then this is a stop time which again state HMS and the elapsed time. So if we go by the first activity, the first activity is last product completed. So it's showing at 8 hours, 15 minutes, 20 seconds. This activity was completed. The next activity will start when the first activity is completed. So in this case, the next activity is 8 hours, 15 minutes, 20 seconds, waiting for communication for setup change. And this activity was completed by 8 hours, 25 minutes and 20 seconds. That is 600 seconds or 10 minutes were wasted for getting the communication as to what need to be done. Same is the case with third activity, wherein the third activity starts when the second activity gets over. So the starting time for third activity will be 8 hours, 25 minutes and 20 seconds. And it is taking 595 seconds. So whatever activity is being done by the operator, we have just noted down the time taken for each activity, and their activity are being written in this format. This chart is being produced by looking at the videography done for during that changeover. So it is always suggested that we go for a videography rather than a manual stop clock activity, because that will be helpful in getting this chart prepared. What we have done is we have put up in a form of a PFD format. And we have divided PFD chart into four. One is preparation, that is shown in the red. Then is setup activity, it is shown in the green. Then trial and adjustment in pink, and inspection in the brown format. To move forward from this theory, what we can get out from this step one is total setup time was 270 minutes. Total number of tool setting per month 27. Downtime is 19.7 hours, and percentage of downtime time is 19% of the available time. So we have this information after going through this videography. So this is an actual activity which we have identified and do the recording. So total setup for this is 2.7 minutes. Number of tool settings for this machine was 27. Downtime due to tool setup was 97.7 hours per month, and percentage downtime of the total time available was 19%. This is a Bye bye. So this is the format which is the crux to this changeover time. I have brought it back to this slide because some of you must not have been able to see. So in this slide you can see that we have listed down all the activities being done by that operator or the digitator, and we have calculated the time taken by for each activity. So this sheet will be helping us to identify which are the areas we need to work upon, which are the activities which are internal, which are activities which are external, which I will be showing you in the subsequent slides. So this slides is the, you can say, baseline for improvement activities. So if you have any doubt with respect to this slide, we can discuss. Any doubt with respect to this slide, please? You may raise your hand. Personal timeout means when we say about, for example, I was talking about that whenever a person is who is working on the machine, he completes his task of producing a X product and a changeover is required. Then he normally moves out to go for a washroom, to have a glass of water or whatever the case may be, and he expects that the person who is a skilled person or who is authorized to go for a changeover, he will come and will do that activity. So personal time means whatever time he is requiring to uh, go to washroom or whatever activity he needs to do, that is a personal timeout. And it normally happens that whenever one product is completed, the operator normally takes off his gloves and he will move towards the washroom to have water or whatever the case may be. So by the time he done, so 3 to 4 5 minutes whatever time may be are lost. Yes, this actually changeover is applicable to all industries. Okay, we cannot say it's not for manufacturing. We cannot say for, because everywhere we go in for changeover. Okay, for example, you go to a hotel. Okay, you check out from a room, and a person is waiting to get in to get check out in that same room itself only. So the time taken by that person or the waiter or whatever who is the housekeeping person to get that room ready for next customer is also a changeover time, because he need to make those activity fast enough so that the customer who is waiting at the lounge, he has doesn't have to wait for too long. So whenever we go from one X to Y or from one product to another, all this comes under changeover time, and we need to make sure that whatever changeover time is being uh, utilized, it should be a bare minimum. And this activity of SMED is only focusing on that only, that changeover time is should be minimized. In manufacturing, changeover time is a bigger issue because sometimes a machine is there wherein a lot of time is getting wasted in changeover, and because of that it may be happening that we are not able to fulfill customer demand due to that changeover time is more, and most of our available time is lost in that changeover. For example, in this case also which I was discussing, our changeover time is getting losted. 19% of the time is getting losted. So that is a big amount. So we need to focus how to bring this time to a minimum basic level. Any other question, please? Sorry for this network issue. Otherwise, we could have moved at a good pace also. So moving ahead, step 2 states separate internal and external steps. So whatever steps we have listed down, we have to check whether those activities could be done earlier or not. For example, if we are waiting for the confirmation or communication from the top management or from the supervisor as to what next loading needs to be done, then this activity shouldn't have been done when the machine has. It should be, the communication should have been made prior to that only. These activities which were done after the machine stopped and could have been done earlier, these need to be separated from those activities which were listed down in that sheet, and that will alone decrease the product changeover time by 30 to 50%. So when we go back and we do a videography, we need to see that whatever changeover we are taking and whatever videography we are doing, we need to ensure that all those activities which could have been done earlier but were done after that stoppage of machine has happened, this needs to be eliminated and taken into external category from there, that itself only. That means our SOP for changeover needs to be revised, that these activity will be done prior to changeover activity startation, so that 30% of our time can be stopped. But for the remaining activities which are internal, which can but for the remaining activities which were considered internal, or those activities which need to be done only when the machine is stopped, then we have to go for the second option, that is sequential and parallel. Sequential means one person is only acting, and the main operator is only doing the changeover activities. Parallel means another person is also assisting in during the changeover activity is being processed, so that the time taken by both of them will be ideally less than the time taken by one person. So in this way, whatever internal activities we are doing, we need to define that two persons will be involved, two or three, whatever the case may be, in getting the changeover activities completed, so that our changeover time is less. After this second step or second option is exhausted, the third option is reduction or making the waiting time delay time to a zero. Waiting time delay time is a time during which the people are waiting for something to happen without doing anything. For example, an operator is standing on the machine and he is waiting for the instruction to come from the supervisor that this loading needs to be done after this present loading. These can be avoided. Or if the operator is waiting for the lift person or some person to bring the die onto the machine, that is also a waiting time. That means that activity should have been done earlier itself only. So these three steps or three options should be exhausted immediately once we go through that sheet of what we have made after the videography. So you can see in this example, I hope the slide has changed. Step 2 is the same which I have told earlier also, internal external activities, identification and reduction. Okay, so what I am doing is I am just explaining to you so that if slides are also not running, then also you can be able to understand. So I'm making it more effective in terms of whatever constraint we are having right now. So you will be saying a slide, which earlier slide I was showing. Here in this, you can see I oblique E. So what we have done is we have identified that these are the activities which are internal, and some of the activities have been registered as E. E means external. So that means these activities can be converted from internal to external. So for example, fourth number activities go to toolkit to fetch tools. That is taking 300 seconds. And that we consider that these activities should have been done earlier itself only, or these are external activities. So all these activities we have listed down as possibility of converting to. Okay, another example is waiting for issue tools. So this waiting for issue tools means had the tool been issued earlier, then this time would have been saved. So this activity of 597 seconds is a complete waste. So what we need to do is we need to ensure that all these activities which we have classified as possible from internal to external should have been done earlier and should be done earlier itself only. And these needs to be mentioned in the done. So in example, you can see that total activities 31 were there, but out of those 31, 6 activities of totaling 62 minutes can be immediately eliminated or reduced if we go from external to internal to external. The time taken by internal activities which are compulsory for machine stoppage remains now 150.5.3 minutes only. Now, when we say convert internal to external, one of the easy way out is to buy duplicate equipments. Duplicate equipments means if we are having a cleaning machine, okay, then we can do have a duplicate machine set wherein one machine can always be ready to clean and another can be used for the changeover. Okay, so that thought process need to put by the team that whatever activity we can do in external also, that needs to be done at a very fast rate. Okay, but when we go on for external to internal, only 30 to 50% of improvement is done. But our main task is that we should be having a changeover improvement within 10 minutes only. So for this, what we need to do is we need to go on for further improvements. You can see in photograph also. This is in fixture and dismantle condition, and this is a completely assembled condition. So all these examples are created so that you can understand that whatever is possible to be done before should be done before itself only, and not after the machine has stopped. Now the remaining 25 to 50% of the changeover time reduction can be brought about by doing kaizens or improvements in the SMED process. One of the innovation of option available is, I told you, some of the innovations which I will be sharing with you in the subsequent slides. This is an example I'm sharing you again. Before condition wherein assembly of this tool needs to be done, and if this assembly is done after the machine is stopped, then this would have an internal activity. But if we do the same task before the machine is stopped, then this will be an external activity. So whatever possibility is there of doing the work in external form should be done. Now, in this case, you can see the 11th, 12th, and 13th activities of unscrewing and removing first tool is written as sequential and PP, S and PP. That means these removing of tools, first tool, second tool, third tool, and assembly of third tool, first tool, second tool can be done by 2 member or 3 member also. So we need to make sure that whatever activity is possible by using more number of manpower and which can help us to reduce cycle time or changeover time, that we need to pursue. Now this is an example. One person doing setting in a sequence. Earlier he was setting using the sequence there. Thereafter he is going for changing of gears at a different location. But we can do this activity in parallel form also, wherein 2 persons are doing the work simultaneously, so that our time is reduced with respect to changeover. This is an example wherein 2 persons are being put at a task which earlier 1 person was doing. The next option is eliminate delay. So whatever delay is with respect to communication should always be brought about and delay should be avoided. Few examples: adjustable height trolley with solar clamps. So these are the kaizens or improvements which we can do to reduce the balance cycle time or changeover time which we have left. All these kaizens or improvement are specific to the company. There are no specific way outs to go about it. But once you are completed with this cycle of reducing of changeover time, that doesn't mean your work is completed. Again, you have to do a videography of the remaining time so that whatever improvements are further available with us, we can go about it. That means that videography activity is not a one-time activity. We need to have it on regular basis so that we can get a fair idea as to where we can further improve upon. This is an example wherein you can have a board over there on the shop floor, wherein all those activities or all those changeover which are required to be taken place in a machine can be made available to all the concerned person, and there is almost zero delay in communication, so that everyone is knowing and operator is knowing that change setter is knowing what next need to be put on that machine. Then few examples: reducing number of screws, commonized pair bolts, combined tools. So these examples are available with us, wherein we can see that we can reduce the time also by reducing number of screws also. If we are using 18 screws and we reduce to 10, then option obviously means that we have tried to bring the changeover time to a minimum level. Now, I would like to straight away move to a example now. This example is a best case of SMED project taken, and how people have started thinking on a different note, different way as to how we can bring about a changeover time reduction. You must have not seen any of the changeover taking within 17 seconds. So this video which I am going to show is an example wherein a 60-ton press is being used and a changeover time is 17 seconds only. So just have a bit look at this video.
Um,
Hello. Hmm? Last. I would like to have a consensus with you, all of you. Since today it was very difficult for all of you to see, hear what I was trying to speak, can we have a repetition of this webinar once again? Do you think you will be able to spare time for this once again? If yes, we can surely plan to have this webinar once again for the benefit of all of you, so that whatever you couldn't gather today, it can be made easily available to you. Are you okay with it? Just give your consent so that we can take a decision. Okay. So I think most of you are agreeing that we should be going in for okay. So I think most of you are in the opinion that we should be going in for more or you can say repetition of this webinar. So we'll be getting back to you with this webinar, and Himanshu will be able to communicate to you uh, as to when this will be happening. Okay, so we will be informing you within a short span when this webinar we will conduct again, because today there was some issue with the network and we are really apologetic for it. So thank you very much for your time. Whatever you could gather today, if you have any queries, you may write to us. Okay, so that when we again resume this activity or this webinar, so I can come prepared for all your queries once again. So today we will not be having that presentation from our guest. Okay, so thank you very much, Himanshu.
yes, sir. You all will be notified by
Himanshu.
email, like new date will be intimated in due course of time. We regret the inconvenience caused. We'll get you, we will update you regarding the date on your email IDs. So keep a track on your registered email IDs, what you have given to us. And also, like some of you have logged in by using your personal email IDs. So just keep a track on your email IDs, like on your mailbox. Thank you.
ठीक है ना?